All right, so you're looking to escape reality for a bit, huh?
I think
Probably get
so.
it. Sometimes real life just doesn't have the gripping narratives and characters we crave. You know what I mean?
Right,
Luckily for us, we have immersive video games to fill that void.
for sure.
And that's what we're diving into today with this Game Techno article. Top immersive video game stories to buy on Amazon.
Awesome.
It's not just like a simple list of games, though, right? This
Hmm.
article actually digs into what makes certain video game stories so captivating, like how they pull you in and make you feel part of that world.
Yeah, exactly. It's not just a list. It goes deeper into like what makes a game immersive. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. So, what does the article highlight as the key elements of a truly immersive experience?
Well, it goes beyond just a compelling plot, right? It's about how the narrative blends with the interactive elements that make you feel like your actions actually matter.
Okay, I see.
Like those big decisions you have to make in games, and you know it's going to have a real impact on the characters and the world around you.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. I'm thinking of games like The Witcher 3, Wild Hunt, which the article mentions is a prime example of an immersive RPG.
Mhm.
And it really is so much more than just completing quests. You're building relationships, dealing with the consequences of your choices, and just seeing how the story unfolds based on what you do. Have you
Yeah.
ever played it?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. The Witcher 3 is incredible.
Yeah.
What really gets me is the depth of the characters and how their stories weave into the main narrative. You're not just following a straight path, you're
Yeah.
making choices that affect everyone you encounter.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
crazy. Like, remember that early quest where you have to decide the fate of that village cursed by a spirit?
Oh, yeah.
Your choice there comes back hours later in the game.
Wow, that's so cool.
Yeah.
That sense of consequence is crucial. It makes you feel like you're shaping the story, not just watching it play out.
Exactly.
The article also mentions The Last of Us Remastered and Detroit Become Human as other great examples of immersive RPGs. What makes them stand out?
Yeah. Well, The Last of Us is all about emotional immersion. The relationship between Joel and Ellie, the world there, and the way the story is told, it's just super powerful. And Detroit, Become Human, goes deep into AI and what it means to be sentient. You get to make choices that determine the fate of androids fighting for their freedom.
So it seems like immersive RPGs really let players explore these complex worlds, connect with characters, and grapple with tough choices. But what about other genres? What does the article suggest for gamers who are more into adventure games, for example?
Believe it or not, they recommend the Nancy Drew series.
Really?
Yeah. It might seem like a weird choice, but those games can be surprisingly immersive, especially if you're into puzzles and
Oh,
mysteries.
I used to love those games. I remember feeling like I was in a detective novel, exploring creepy mansions and finding clues. It was so satisfying to figure things out.
Right.
The article also mentions Titanic, Adventure Out of Time. What's immersive about that one?
That game nails historical immersion. You're not just exploring the Titanic, you're going back in time, talking to passengers and crew, uncovering secrets, and trying to stop the disaster from happening.
Whoa, so it mixes real history with a fictional mystery.
Exactly. You feel like you're actually there that night.
That's wild. It's like
Hmm.
those choose your own adventure books,
Yeah.
but on a bigger, more interactive scale. Speaking of choice, the article also talks about games where your decisions have a huge impact on the story, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure. For those who love those high stakes choices, they recommend interactive dramas and choice based games like Heavy Rain, Until Dawn, and Life is Strange.
I love Life is Strange. The way it deals with friendship, time travel, and how even small choices can have big consequences is just so engaging. You're always wondering, what if I'd done something different? That really adds to the immersion, doesn't it?
Totally. It keeps you hooked on the characters and what's going to happen to them. You're always thinking about what could have been.
Yeah, that makes sense. I'm curious, the article also mentioned some hidden gems, those lesser known titles with surprisingly great stories. Did any of those stand out to you?
Yeah, a few for sure. Like Celeste. It looks like just a platformer, but it's actually a really moving story about mental health.
Yeah.
You're not just climbing a mountain, you're overcoming challenges.
Yeah, that makes sense. And Undertale, too.
Yeah.
It's got that humor and heart, but it also makes you think about gaming in a different way.
Right, exactly.
Yeah,
It's really clever. I love how you're pointing out those deeper layers of meaning. It's not just about what happens in the game, it's about what it makes you feel.
for sure. And that brings us to the evolution of video game storytelling, which the article also talks about.
Uh,
How have game narratives changed over time, in your opinion?
well, in the early days, they were pretty simple, like just a basic framework for the gameplay. But as technology got better, developers realized that games could be so much more. We started seeing branching narratives where your choices really matter, characters that felt more realistic, and stories that dealt with more complex issues.
right? It's amazing to see how far we've come from Rescue the Princess. Now we're seeing stories that explore the human condition and make us think about the world around us. The article also mentions AI as a big factor in shaping the future of game narratives. How do you see AI impacting immersive storytelling?
Oh, AI is huge. It's already changing the game, literally. It's being used to create more believable characters and dialogue, and even to generate content that reacts to what the player does. Like in Red Dead Redemption 2, the NPCs have their own lives and they respond to you based on your actions.
It's crazy to think that AI could make game worlds as dynamic and unpredictable as real life. But let's not forget about the technical side of things, too. The article talks about the importance of hardware and tech. What are your thoughts on that?
Definitely, immersion isn't just about the story, it's also about how you experience it. Having the right hardware can make a big difference.
Mm.
A good display with vibrant colors and a smooth frame rate can really draw you in.
Hmm.
And a high quality sound system or headset can make you feel like you're really there.
I totally agree. I remember playing Hellblade, Senua's Sacrifice, with headphones on, and the audio was so realistic it felt like I was inside Senua's head. It was intense. But even with the best tech, if the story isn't good, it won't matter. What does the article say about choosing games based on their storytelling quality?
It says to read reviews and watch gameplay videos to get a feel for the narrative and the pacing, but it also says to trust your gut. Like, what kind of stories do you like? What themes resonate with you? The best game for you is the one that you connect with on a personal level.
That's great advice. It's
Mm.
about finding those games that really speak to you. Speaking of personal connections, have you ever played a game that just blew you away with its immersion, like a game that completely transported you to another world?
Oh, there have been so many. But one that comes to mind is Ghost of Tsushima. It's so beautiful, the way it captures feudal Japan, the combat, the environments. It's just breathtaking.
Yeah.
I would spend hours just riding my horse through the world, taking it all in.
That's what it's all about,
Yeah.
right? That feeling of being completely lost in a game. It's like reading a great book or watching a movie, but you're also in control. That's what makes this topic so fascinating.
Right.
It's always evolving. And with AI and virtual reality, who knows what the future holds?
Yeah, it's pretty exciting. Okay, so we've talked about what makes a video game story immersive,
Hmm.
looked at some examples, and even talked about how game narratives have evolved. Now, I want to go back to something you mentioned earlier, value. The article says that we should think about more than just the price tag, right?
Yeah, exactly. Because the most expensive game isn't always the most immersive.
Yeah.
You have to consider how much playtime you'll get. Is it a short linear story or a huge open world? Does it have replay value? And most importantly, how deeply does it immerse you in its world and characters?
Right. It's all about getting your money's worth.
Well,
A game might seem expensive at first, but if it gives you hours and hours of amazing gameplay, it could be a steal. And reading reviews can help you figure out if a game is really worth it.
definitely. Reviews can give you insights into the story, the difficulty, and whether or not it's truly immersive. So with all this in mind, our listener is ready to explore the world of immersive video game stories. But before they go, I think it's important to give them some key takeaways. What would you say are the most important things to remember?
Well, first, immersion isn't just about a good story. It's about how the narrative, the gameplay, and the technology all work together. Look for games with compelling characters, meaningful choices, and worlds that feel real.
And don't be afraid to check out those lesser-known games. You might be surprised at what you find.
Absolutely. And remember, technology can enhance immersion, but it's not everything. The most immersive games are the ones that connect with you emotionally, the ones that stay with you even after you've finished playing them.
I love that.
Yeah.
So as you explore immersive video game stories, keep an open mind, trust your gut, and most importantly, have fun.
Yeah, and never underestimate the power of a great story.
Well said. Okay, that's all the time we have for our deep dives into immersive video games. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep diving deep into the things that fascinate you.
Sounds good.
With the rapid advancements in AI and game development, what does the future hold for immersive video game storytelling? Will these experiences become even more personalized and emotionally impactful? Will we reach a point where the lines between reality and virtual reality blur even further?
That's a great question. It is a question worth thinking about. The possibilities are exciting, but also maybe a little scary. Imagine games that adapt to our moods, our preferences, even what we're thinking subconsciously, creating these totally unique experiences for every player.
It's mind-blowing. It makes you wonder if games could become more than just entertainment. Maybe they could become tools for empathy, for self-discovery, for even social change.
Yeah, I can see that happening. We've already seen games that deal with social issues and make players think about their own biases. As technology keeps getting better, who knows what kind of experiences are waiting for us?
It's really exciting. This whole topic, it's always pushing the boundaries of what's possible. Blending art, technology, and human connection. Like we've talked about today, the key to making these immersive experiences isn't just the latest tech. It's about the storytelling, the characters, and being able to make choices that matter.
Absolutely. The most immersive games are the ones that stay with us long after we've stopped playing, the ones that make us think and feel and see the world in new ways.
I couldn't have said it better myself. So to wrap things up as you go out and explore all these amazing immersive video game stories, remember to be open-minded, trust your gut, and most importantly, have fun.
Yeah, have fun. Get lost in those worlds.
That's it for our deep dive into immersive video games. Until next time, keep exploring, keep asking questions, and keep diving deep into the things that you love.